Hello everybody and welcome back to Double Play. My name is Ryan and in this video I'm going to be ranking the top 30 starting third basemen in baseball. This is continuing a series that Jack and I are doing, ranking the top 30 starters at every position in baseball. Those are all linked in the top corner, but without further ado, let's get it started at number 30. Let's start off this list with Ryan Creedler of the Detroit Tigers. He only played 26 games in his debut season last season and it did not go well. He hit 178 with a 38 WRC+. I can't really rank a player who has played 26 games at the major league level any higher. He's a top 10 Tigers prospect, but he's at the bottom of that list, so maybe he has potential and will get the chance to prove himself, but for now, he starts off this list. Coming in at number 29, we have Spencer Steer of the Cincinnati Reds. Steer's only played 28 games in the majors in his career and has more success than Creedler, so he gets one higher ranking. His swing sort of reminds me of Kris Bryant, despite being 6 inches shorter than Bryant. He's another player who will have a chance to prove himself this season, and I can't rank him any higher for the same reason as Creedler. He needs more time. Heading down to Texas for number 28, we have Josh Jung of the Texas Rangers. Jung is the Rangers' top prospect and is another guy who just hasn't played a lot of games in the majors. He profiles to be a solid MLB player with the potential to be a star. His fast hands at the plate allow him to be explosive and show some pretty good power in his time in the majors. Although I think he can and most likely will be higher in these rankings, he has to rank at number 28 for now. At number 27, we have new Washington Nationals third baseman, Jeimer Candelario. Candelario is a weird case because he's not the normal 3 true outcome guy. He actually seems like he's a 2 true outcome type of guy. He has a pretty high K rate and chase rate, but when he makes contact, he hits the ball very far. Defensively, he's atrocious, posting a -6 outs above average in 2022. He's a solid player overall on a not-so-good team, so he should get some chances to hit with runners on in a lineup that's not so good in the Washington Nationals. Number 26 is Miami Marlins' Joey Wendle. Now I know Joey Wendle is probably going to be a shortstop now. When we ranked this, we thought that Segura was going to be second base, Jazz at shortstop, and Joey Wendle at third before the Luis Arias trade. So we're going to rank Wendle as a third baseman. Wendle looks like a lot of guys I ranked in the second base video because he was one until last year. He has a low K rate and whiff rate, but he doesn't really barrel the ball. He's okay defensively, putting up a little bit below average metrics, and last season not being so great offensively, he comes in at 26. Number 25 is Milwaukee Brewers third baseman Brian Anderson. Anderson fills a hole for the Brewers, which was previously going to be filled by a rookie. He brings average offensive numbers despite not playing more than 100 games in each of the last 2 seasons. He strikes out a lot, but also walks a lot, when he makes contacts, it's usually pretty hard contact. He's relatively poor on defense, but he makes up for it by having one of the better arms in all of baseball. He's a good fit for the Brewers, but isn't really better than the guys above him on this list, so he ranks here at number 25. Number 24 is Baltimore Orioles' upcoming star and rookie, Gunnar Henderson. And now trust me, I want to rank Henderson much higher, but these are rankings on what they've done, not what they will do. In 34 games, Henderson had a 126 WRC+. And I actually want to make an entire video on how good Gunnar Henderson is going to be and the star I think he will turn into. He has the thunder in his bat and the style to go along with it. But as we stand, he has the 24th best resume among starting third basemen in baseball, so I've got to put him at 34. Let's turn our attention to the city of brotherly love for number 23. It's Alec Baum of the Philadelphia Phillies. Baum has not so great numbers on paper. He does have good expected stats, however I can't really rank much on that. He doesn't walk a lot because he chases a lot, which causes K rate to be high. His explosive swing can sometimes make up for that, and I can believe he could still be a better third baseman in baseball, but for now, with just about average hitting at 98 WRC+, and his -9 outs above average among the worst at the position, I just can't justify putting him any higher. Number 22 is Jace Peterson of the Oakland Athletics. Peterson has been surprisingly okay the last couple years with a 96 and 98 WRC+, and a 698 OPS and 7 outs above average last season. The number that stands out is his elite defensive number. That makes up for the just average numbers on the offensive side, but it's not enough to put him any higher in the rankings. He comes in at 22. Slotting in at number 21, it's Bobby Witt Jr. for the Kansas City Royals. Witt came into the league as one of its top prospects and didn't necessarily live up to that hype in his rookie season. He put up a 99 WRC+ and a -3 outs above average. His drawback was that he chased a lot, causing him to strike out a lot. Although he did show good tendencies to cover the entire plate and hammer the ball to all fields, He's also one of the fastest players in all of the sport. The jury is still out as to whether he can be a star, and for now, he's the 21st best third baseman. Starting off the top 20, we have Christopher Morel of the Chicago Cubs. And what stands out for me when looking at Morel is that he barrels the ball a lot, but he also whiffs a lot. Overall, he ended up averaging out to have a 108 WRC plus and a 741 OPS at the plate. He played relatively poor defense last season when he was at third. He bounced around a lot in the field, but looks to have a home at third with the Cubs signing Dansby and Belly to play shortstop and center. And we'll see if better numbers come with the consistency for Morel. Number 19 is Jose Miranda of the Minnesota Twins. Miranda put up good numbers in his first season, posting a 117 WRC plus and a 0 outs above average. Maybe I'm not giving him enough credit with this ranking at number 19. At the plate, he was able to hit for a little bit of power, clubbing 15 home runs, but he also chased a lot, causing his K percentage to be high and his walk rate to be low. He'll be a solid bat towards the middle end portion of the Twins lineup, and he will do a great job in fulfilling his role for that team. At number 18, we've got probably the hardest guy to rank on this list. It's Anthony Rendon for the Los Angeles Angels. He's probably been worse than the 18th best third baseman, but he has been injury-riddled the last couple of seasons, so I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt because his last full season was an elite 2019. He's kind of lost power in his bat, even though he has been average at the plate. In terms of how fall-offs go, I don't feel that his is the same as others, and I believe he can still get back to what he was, but I can't rank on belief. Rendon, number 18. Moving on to the Windy City, we have Yoan Moncada of the Chicago White Sox. Moncada, like most of the 2022 White Sox, greatly underperformed in the season. 1 year after having a 120 WRC plus, which would put him among top 10 among third basemen, he had a 76 WRC plus. He had a high K rate and a high whiff rate, and he lost most of his power from both sides of the plate in 2022. He still was one of the better defensive players at the position, which keeps him here from not falling too far. He's another guy who's tough to rank, and we will see which Moncada we get in 2023. His track record earns him number 17. Number 16 is former San Francisco Giant and now Arizona Diamondback Evan Longoria, who's a third straight guy that's hard to rank just because of his inability to stay on the field the last 2 seasons. He's been very productive when he is on the field, but of course that's been an issue. He hasn't played more than 100 games in each of the last 2 seasons. He still has signs of a powerful swing that can bring production. Even though he hasn't played 100 games in each of the last 2 seasons, he's put up a 122 and 115 WRC plus when he's playing. He brings production to an underrated Diamondbacks team. He's hard to rank, and I think I have to put him at 16. Number 15, we're going to the Bronx. It's Josh Donaldson, and it appears we may be witnessing the downfall of Josh Donaldson. I'm going to read some stats comparatively in 2022 to 2021. He had 15 home runs in 2022 compared to 26 in 2021. A 97 WRC plus compared to a 126 WRC plus, and a 682 OPS compared to an 827 OPS in 2021. He's still very productive on defense at 7 outs above average, and that, along with his declining offensive production, is still enough to put him in the top half of the league among third basemen. Number 14 is Pittsburgh Pirates third baseman Cristian Hayes. We know what Hayes brings. He's a guy who struggles a tad at the plate, but he's the best defender in the sport. And if you value defense a little bit more than I do, I tend to value offense a little bit more than defense. You can put him higher, but I've got him at 14. He hits the ball hard with a smooth swing from the right side, but is in the lower half of the league in K percentage. And because of his value he brings on defense, he gets to be an above average third baseman. And with production on offense, which I think he can do, he can potentially crack the top 10 and maybe even top 5. Let's swing it back to New York. New York Mets third baseman Eduardo Escobar. Escobar kind of looked to be out of a starting job for the Mets this season after they signed Correa for a little bit, and we all know how that ended. But for now, he's going to continue being the third baseman going forward. He's a consistently above average hitter, suffers from very bad defense, had a negative 7 outs above average last season. He chases and whiffs a lot, but has shown signs of being able to cover the entire plate from both sides and hit for power. He's perfect in his role for a competing team like the Mets, and he slots in at number 13. Coming in at number 12, we have Ryan McMahon of the Colorado Rockies. McMahon is a surprisingly very solid defensive third baseman. A 10 outs above average last season was among the best at third base, and with the bat, he posts league average numbers but shows a good amount of power with a 741 OPS. His prototypical short to and explosive swing through, powerful lefty swing allows him to do this. He has a high K rate because of a high whiff rate, but he doesn't chase much, allowing him to still get on base. He's one of the better hitters in a bad Rockies lineup, and he's the 12th best third baseman. Let's head out to the Bay for a surprising number 11. It's J.D. Davis of the San Francisco Giants. In my original blind rankings, before I looked at stats, I had Davis around 20. His stats were very impressive, with a 129 and 119 WRC plus in the last 2 seasons. His baseball's font numbers are completely red, except for his K rate, which is as blue as can be. He smokes the ball all the time, but he also whiffs among the most in the league. That and his defense hurt his ranking a little bit, but 11 is much higher than I was expecting for Davis. Starting off the top 10, we have Los Angeles Dodgers third baseman Max Muncy. Max Muncy coming off an insane 2021 where he had a 139 WRC plus. Struggled a little bit, partially because of injury, putting up a 106 WRC plus. He picked it up in the second half, and he's a guy who will greatly benefit from getting rid of the shift. He swung a miss a lot in 2022, and he's not so great defense at third, but it could improve with some more consistency at the position with Justin Turner gone. Let's turn our sights north of the border. For number 9, it's Matt Chapman of the Toronto Blue Jays. Chapman had a much better 2022 offensively than he did in 2021, but in turn, his defensive numbers kind of took a hit a little bit. He only had a 1 outs above average, where he's normally a Platinum Glove Award winner. He's had a high K rate, high walk rate, low chase, and high swing and miss. Lots of power, but like I said, his defense took a hit, while his offense exploded a little bit. He's enough to get the top 10, number 9. For number 8, we have Eugenio Suarez of the Seattle Mariners. Suarez had a crazy 2022 comparatively to 2021. His WRC plus rose by 47 points in the season. He had suffered from a little bit below average defense, but he made up for that in his ability to hit for power and get on base, getting a 791 OPS in the season. He had a great 2022, and he slots in at number 8 here. Flight cross country for number 7, it's Yandy Diaz of the Tampa Bay Rays. He had a crazy 2022. Did you know that he has the 3rd highest OPS among third basemen? He had an 824 OPS, combine that with a 146 WRC plus. He's among the best offensively at the position in the sport. However, what hurts his ranking a little bit is he has got -8 outs above average, which is the worst among people above him. So his offense isn't that much better to boost him any higher, but those stats that I read off offensively were very surprising to me, so he slots in at number 7. Coming in at number 6, we have Alex Bregman of the Houston Astros. Bregman had a much better 2022 after 2021 was down a little bit with an injury. Last season, he had a 136 WRC plus with an 820 OPS and was great defensively with a 5 outs above average. He's kind of consistently around the 6th spot. I just feel like the top 5 separate themselves a little bit, although he is among those elite tier of third basemen. He slots in at number 6. Kicking off the top 5, we have Austin Riley of the Atlanta Braves. He's consistently one of the best offensive third basemen in the league. The last 2 seasons, he had a 142 and 136 WRC plus with an 878 OPS last season. He's got amazing power, barrel, and expected stats, although he has not so amazing defense and his K rate. His defense was a -6 outs above average last year. At the plate, again, he had 38 bombs in 2022. That's just because he uses his lower half so well to just kill balls, and pair that with a smooth swing. He's one of the best offensive players at the position. He's number 5. Now, number 3 and number 4 are completely interchangeable for me. At number 4, I've got Jose Ramirez of the Cleveland Guardians. He's very consistently elite the last 2 seasons. He had a 139 and 138 WRC plus, and last season's OPS was an 869. He's also above average defensively. He's got a 1 outs above average. Some people tend to underrate him or overrate him. I don't think he's a top 10 player, but he's definitely a top 20 player. He doesn't strike out, and the solid defense and then elite bat production definitely puts him there in that conversation. He hits the ball hard. He's got a little bit more power from the left side. I love Jose Ramirez. I just got to put him at 4. At number 3, I have Rafael Devers of the Boston Red Sox. His stats are just slightly better in 2022 than Jose Ramirez, which is why I put him at 3, but again, I think these are interchangeable. WRC plus in 2022 for Rafael Devers was a 141, and his OPS was an 879, both just slightly better than Jose Ramirez. He's a little bit worse on the defensive side at -2 outs above average, but not much. He kills the ball, and he's got high expected stats. He doesn't strike out too much, but he does swing and miss and chase a lot. He's able to get the bat to the ball still, and he most definitely deserved his payday. Again, very close with Jose Ramirez, but number 3, Rafael Devers. Number 2 is Nolan Arenado of the St. Louis Cardinals. He came back to what he's been his entire career in 2022. After a couple of down years to his standards, although it was still great, in 2022 he had a 151 WRC+, an 891 OPS, and a 15 outs above average, which puts him at the second best at the position and in all of the sport of baseball defensively. He was 3rd in MVP voting last year. He's got a unique swing that works for him. He's able to hit for power and average. He's just a great player all around. One of my favorite players in the league. He's number 2. And the best third baseman in baseball is Manny Machado of the San Diego Padres. He's got elite defense with an 8 outs above average last season, and you pair that with his ability to hit the ball hard almost all the time with his great load at the plate, which allows him to explode to the ball. He put up a 152 WRC+ with an 898 OPS. He was 2nd in MVP voting. He was almost there in 2022. I think he can do that in his career. He's the best third baseman in baseball. Manny Machado finishes off this list. That's all from today's rankings. If you like what you saw, make sure you like and subscribe. It'd help out the page, and we'd greatly appreciate your support. Also, leave us a comment down below. What did you think about these rankings? Is there a player that you thought should have been higher, or maybe a player you thought should have been lower? Let us know down below. We try and respond to as many comments as possible. And remember to check out our previous ranking videos. We've done all positions up to third base. Next up is outfield. Make sure you stick around and subscribe for that. Peace out.